Apparently, I am just horrific bad luck for anyone who talks to me, because as soon as I had that conversation with Tommy, his father, and then he gets committed. The news broke on Twitter real succinctly. My father passed over quietly about half a century ago. My sister was with him at the end. They all visited this morning. He'll be given a military funeral. So that's Tommy saying that his dad's, and this is a kaddish for his father, which is a Hebrew for eulogy. Extremely weird eulogy. I'm not going to read it all because I'll myself in the process of doing that. But it's just, it's mostly about Tommy, which I don't know. Okay, maybe a kaddish is slightly different from a eulogy, and you're supposed to talk mostly about yourself, but I really don't think that's the case. I think it's supposed to be actually about the person who, correct me if I'm wrong, my listeners from the greater Israel, but I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to talk entirely about yourself at someone else's funeral, no matter what religion you're from. So this is just him. Okay, this is Tommy talking about his relationship with his father a little bit. My pragmatic way of looking at things is entirely his doing. Very little can be described accurately in black or white. 0 and infinity are just reference points. There is always lively political and religious discussion going on in our house. We learned about Spin Young. One of the most valuable lessons my father taught me, and I'm reading this and you'll see why, I promise, is that many others have thanked me for passing to them, is to let the other person speak when you first meet, while you're storing their name, face, and rap in your head. He didn't give me much but a hard way to go after 1970, but he did put out at times when his parental conscience forced him to, and he saw to it that I had an outstanding education. Today, after being bullied all my life for it, I am thankful finally to finally be appreciated for my mental abilities and the ability to deliver verifiable facts about things people are hungry to learn. The things I'm most sad about today is that Gene didn't get to vote in what was the most important election of his news junkie marketing executive life. At least he's raging at the monstrosity in the White House, understanding that I don't blame him for what was done to me because it was the cultural norm at the time, and that my reaction to it was textbook beyond my control. He at peace with me and even treated me to the last crazy round of calls. He asked him to sell his auction off his belongings, and Tommy says, the last words I ever yelled at my father were, "I can't do that. You're not even yet, Dad." My father was a great communicator on par with Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump, but he was nowhere near the insufferable asshole, his words, or pompous ass, Aunt Barbara's, that Il Duce is, and he never really all that cruel to us or nearly as violent as some of the horror stories I hear from my transgender and siblings about their fathers. My father was a notable marketing executive, darling of Chicago society, did a lot of public speaking. I just wanted to read some of this because it is extremely weird how much he rants about Trump, like for no reason. I don't know. I really don't know what's wrong with Tommy. It's hard to say. Like, okay, I know he's like two-spirit and whatever. He's all female except for his, but I really don't understand what it is that drives him to do the things he does. Okay, my father, and here's how I feel. My father, and he in Trump, my father, and so on and so forth. It is just strange. No, I don't know what happened after this, but very, very shortly after this Kaddish was published, Tommy started live streaming, and I'll play the live stream. It's 5 minutes long. I'll probably pause it for commentary at some points, but let's just get through it because there's a lot to take in here. And it's kind of he's streaming from a building, so it kind of cuts out after a while.
Just so you guys know, fly. I know. I know. I know.
So you know how, like, I don't know what you would call, I guess like a bandana. He has like a rainbow hippie bandana covering his face like an anarchist. And this is while he's sitting here in a room talking to police. He appears to be detained because he's sitting down and the police are sitting down. I'm not sure what they're waiting for, but he's live streaming with his phone at the time.
Oh, she's recording.
I'm not recording. Streaming.
Oh, okay.
What's also streaming is just like
Streaming on like Facebook?
Uh-huh. I don't know what the point is, though. Better I should just charge the phone.
Is it almost dead?
I don't know. It can stream as long as I want to. Hi, guys. Matthew Golden made another false report. This is just an outrage. I don't know.
Matthew Golden is the name of the, I want to say the sheriff deputy. He's the top dog at the Tucson Police Department. Pretty sure. And last time I spoke to Tommy, there's a 2.5 hour long conversation with him. If you're curious, it's still on the channel. It'll be on manattheinternet.com. But he explained that he was detained at a psychiatric intake because the police made false statements to say that he was a danger to himself, which would allow them to take his person, basically. It's very hard to take someone in against their will if they haven't committed a crime. So he claims that he was willing to go in for treatment that his insurance would have paid for, but because of false statements by the police department, he was held against his will for inpatient treatment. And he's saying here that the same thing has happened, that they falsified that he's a danger to himself or others to get him involuntarily detained again.
Where he got this information from, but it's all false. Making all kinds of false statements about my medical services, false statements about me, false statements about what I do online as far as anything. Claimed I challenged 4 cops to a fight when the only thing I ever do is challenge cops to a training session in a gym to show them how it could go differently. Right? Are you guys willing to like say like how you feel about what's going on? Good order, guys. How do you feel about doing that? Do you feel you did something that wasn't right?
you can't comment on a private matter for you. This is a private matter.
That's a private matter.
I can speak to you about it, but I don't know who's listening.
Well, yeah. Well, you understand that I'm making an assertion. An illegal order. How do you feel about that? Do you think it's credible?
That depends. But as of this point, I don't want to. This is a medical file, and I don't want to discuss that with.
Oh, sure. I'm just saying that the whole medical file has been falsified, and that you're being used illegally.
He's trying to get them to talk about how they feel about being a co-conspirator and depriving him of his constitutional rights. That's basically what he's doing. And the cops are saying, I can't talk to you about this because you're live streaming, which I don't know if that's true. But the cops wouldn't know anything about that anyways. They just have an order. The cops are not like higher ups. Very, very intentionally, cops are like removed from the process of issuing the warrants and medical documents for involuntary detention, right? So he's completely wasting his breath with these guys who seem extremely annoyed by this behavior.
To do something to me that's unconstitutional.
I've heard you say that.
And you agree.
Also, the cop, I'll back up a few seconds because I had it on a good still. Her hands in the lap, legs together, looking away. It's like really defensive body language. I don't know if she's nervous or if she's like grossed out by Tommy, but it's really it's really loud what she's saying with her posture.
Still legally to do something to me that's unconstitutional.
I've heard you say that.
And you agree that
She probably doesn't want to be
my
filmed.
reasoning is correct, and it would all depend on the actual facts of.
She doesn't want to end up on camera taking a knee on this guy's neck.
Right.
Between you and the
and Golden. But you're saying that if I'm correct in what I'm saying, Golden is deeply wrong.
Tommy, we're saying that you contacted the sergeant for IA and you've done, and that's where you need to contact if you feel like it's wrong.
Oh, well, they already have a
That's
Title
perfect.
42, Section 1983 complaint against the whole frickin' department over this.
Perfect.
It's been going on for 6 years.
It's a long time.
It started in Eric Zverzik's here when he was still a captain, and he passed it off to Jim Scott's when he was still a lieutenant. And they promised that they would at least investigate to some extent, and if it merited calling the FBI.
It's a great insight to Tommy's life. Like, he calls up the police station so much. He knows everybody who works there, and he knows everyone who's worked there for like the last 10 years.
Golden has admitted it. Brady and OPS has admitted it. There are federal crimes being committed. They are totally handcuffed and doing anything about the 9/11 callers. Anybody in this town who has been violated electronically, tough shit. They don't have it. They can't at all.
I don't know what a
others there are,
9/11
'cause they
caller
don't
is.
know. The people I talked to morale. They can't do anything about it. Investigators, if you suffered a property crime,
Oh, he's saying 911 callers. Yeah, that's weird. That's a weird way to reference that.
you ain't getting it back. They ain't making an arrest. If somebody gets beat up and they're not or injured badly, there's no follow-up. You didn't catch the perpetrator right there. The only time they ever caught anybody with me was when the reporting officer spotted the guy that took my horn. Otherwise, I'm trying to report drug dealing on my corner. I'm getting attacked by one of the drug dealers. Finally,
He
Sergeant
never
Wilson
shuts up.
happened to
He has a
be
captive
a
audience. They have to sit there and listen to him. He's not going to pass up this opportunity to chew their ear off. He usually has to call them 20 times a day to get that kind of attention.
Well enough to answer a call when I got attacked for the third time and they nabbed the guy. But otherwise, it went, it's like the sergeant, okay, he okays the thing, but then it never gets assigned. Because you got
This is where it starts to cut off. It ends
That's not my
abruptly.
fault. But I got to put through this all the time.
His live stream has 2 viewers and they're sitting right there. That's
11
pretty cool.
visitors today.
Oh, that's the end. That's where it ends abruptly. That's, as far as I know, that's the end of what we know about what's happened with Tommy. Maybe I'm wrong. I think that's the end because it would have been in the OP. Yeah, it's strange. I wonder if he did do something really stupid because, I mean, his dad just. If there was ever a time for psychiatric break with someone as unstable as Tommy Tooter, that would be the appropriate time. But, I don't know.